Welcome to Tech Challenge Makers Conquer E-Commerce. I'm Elise, your resident tech expert and author of the book Browser versus Buyer. I've worked with e-commerce shop owners for over 6 years, and I've helped hundreds of creatives overcome their technology fears. Gain clarity and direction in your business with Elise's E-Commerce Elevator 6-month group coaching program. Join now at myscheduledbiz.com/elevator. The link is in the show notes. Today we'll be talking with Danielle Cox. She helps overwhelmed entrepreneurs gain focus and clarity so that they can efficiently use their time, energy, and attention to grow their businesses. Danielle Cox is a goals and accountability coach, host of the Excellent You podcast, and the creator of the Success in 6 framework. She helps ambitious women entrepreneurs take targeted actions that get results so they can work less and live more. By the end of this episode, you'll understand why your mindset is so important to your business, the technology that's required, and walk away with 1 action step. Danielle, I am so glad to have you here to share your expertise with us. Please tell us a little bit about your business and your experience with e-commerce.
Thank you so much, Elise. I am thrilled to be here with you and your audience today. So I started my first e-commerce shop over a decade ago. It's an online shop, and I've run that for over 10 years. I still run it today with the help of a team, and I'm kind of a part-time CEO in that business where I am not involved in the day-to-day, but I do have a lot of oversight. And about 3 or 4 years ago, I actually transitioned into becoming a coach for entrepreneurs. I noticed throughout the decade that I was building my e-com business, I watched as lots of very smart, talented women entrepreneurs, particularly who had amazing products and amazing ideas. I watched them they fizzled out and their business fell to the wayside. And I wondered and explored what's kept me going and what has kept them from pursuing their dreams. And so now I help those entrepreneurs who are struggling to overcome obstacles in their business to get an understanding about how they can stay motivated and get through those tough moments so they can reach the success they desire.
That's a lot. I think that you're totally right, though. It is all about being able to focus on how you're achieving and what your mindset is and how you're moving forward. And so I think that's amazing. That's exactly why I wanted you to be here on the podcast with us today. All right, so let's go ahead and jump right into our questions for today. Danielle, why is mindset so important to an e-commerce maker?
So I think when you are running a business, especially an e-commerce business where you are putting your heart and soul into products that you are selling online, one of the things we don't realize is that our mindset decides how easy and how hard everyday things feel. So if our mindset is one that is maybe not healthy, tasks that to one person might seem easy to overcome and those challenges, it might stop you right in your tracks. And so mindset's a tricky thing because it's not always obvious that it's not mindset. And so learning to identify the ways you see different challenges in your business and learning to see challenges as opportunities, it can be the difference between the entrepreneur who rides out the tough times and the one who decides to put it down and walk away.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about how you see the glass, right? Is the glass half full? Is the glass half empty? I mean, that really is. Is this task going to be really hard? Is this task going to be really easy? That really does impact how well you get it done and how you can move forward. So yeah, 100%. What about technology? So this podcast, of course, is all about helping tech challenge makers. So how does technology impact the ability for small business owners to achieve their goals?
One of the things I have seen in my over a decade of experience running an online business is that a lot of makers, e-commerce, particular makers, they tend to be a little less structured in how they run their day. They treat their business like a hobby business and not like a serious business. And I think that's what helped me to last through the tough times is that I had a lot of structure in my day to make sure I was always working on growing or improving my business in some way. There's 8 business areas that every business has, and I focus consistently on the different areas. So when it comes to technology, what I find is a lot of entrepreneurs, e-commerce entrepreneurs in particular, makers, don't put structure in their day. They don't use a calendar. They don't use a planner. They kind of wake up and say, okay, today I'm going to work on this. And then if the day goes off the rail, which is inevitable, we will all have those days, they sort of lose focus and get distracted and move on and hope that they'll pick it back up tomorrow. But if you string enough of those days together where you haven't committed to the focused time you need to work on your business, it's very easy for getting that momentum to start again to feel really, really hard. So for me, technology is hands down having a calendaring system that works for you. A lot of people try to follow somebody else's process. You have to find your own. It's an exploration. And 2, making a plan every single week for what goals you're going to work on and how you're going to accomplish them. And again, when it comes to the planning, what I've seen is that everybody has to find their own path. So for example, I like structure. I like to know when I am doing what, and I like to know when I'm not. I have this system, and actually I'm going to tell a quick story. So it is actually inspired by Richard Simmon. So I'm a Gen X, child of the 80s, and my grandmother back in the day had this meal planning system called Deal a Meal, where Richard Simmons, it was his thing. You would shuffle these cards and you'd draw 7 cards from the green deck, and those were your vegetables, and 7 cards from the brown deck, and that was your protein, and 7 cards from the blue deck, and that was your carb. And you would arrange your meal, plan your whole week meal planning using these cards. And so it was really fun. I remember thinking it was really neat when my grandmother had it. I don't even think they make it anymore, but I use the same concept in my time planning. So I know I need to hit certain points in my business, whether that's product development, technology, working on my website, social media, accounting, there's 8 business areas. I know I need to hit all of those every week, but I don't always know how my days are going to go. So the plan that I use is flexible, just like the Deal a Meal. So with my grandmother, if she couldn't cook fresh broccoli on Tuesday, she'd just move it to Sunday, because it didn't matter if she was eating broccoli on Tuesday. What matters is that she ate broccoli that week. And I do that with my time. So finding a time system like that allows the flexibility and the structure, it really is an experiment and a process. So for example, if for entrepreneurs who have ADD, totally common, we have lots of ideas, lots of distractions, and we lead very busy lives. You might not be able to use a time-dated planner. That might overwhelm you. You might need to use a bullet journal style planner to plan your days, where you are keeping track of what needs to be done, but you're following it in a way that your brain can consume. So in summary, using technology, digital planners are great. Digital calendars are great because you always have them available to you. Those 2 things, and finding the right system that fits your personality type, it is absolutely the difference between success and sort of staying stagnant, or a doggy paddling, like paddling water and trying to stay afloat. It really is the biggest difference.
Yeah, I love the illustration of the card. So I love games. Games are like my favorite thing ever. Like, I'm seriously thinking in my mind, oh, I need to start doing that for dinner. But it's the idea, right? So you can have cards that you shuffle, and it can be the least tech thing ever. You can have a planner that you literally just write on, or you can go and use some of these technology things that are available. But having that system set up can be the thing that keeps you from accomplishing those goals, because you have to have something there, right?
Absolutely. And one more thing, going back to technology, the reason why technology is so important in this is however you plan your week, which I use the card analogy, that works for me. But once I plan it, it is on my phone and it's in my calendar. And these are non-negotiable tasks. So I can't suddenly decide, oh yeah, I'm just going to get that dentist appointment on Friday, because it's blocked out on my calendar. I need to make sure if I'm going to move it from that spot, it cannot leave my calendar. It just gets moved to a different spot, which is the beauty of a Deal a Meal style time. But it's important that you keep a calendar on your phone with your obligations, and you treat your business like a commitment, because then otherwise we start to let those commitments slide. If it's not on your phone and it's not something you know you've planned, it's really easy to push it off and put it on the back burner and forget about it completely.
I know, like for me, I call them my live appointments. So this is where I'm actually supposed to be somewhere at a specific time. Those things go in my phone. And then my tasks actually go on a planner like this that I keep at my desk, so that I can constantly be looking at it and going, okay, I need to get that thing done today. I need to get that thing done today. Because the live things are the things where it's like, I have to make sure I'm there at that time. And that for me includes all of my business stuff, all of my personal stuff, everything that I'm doing, so that I can really make sure I know what's happening. But like you said, everybody has their own system, and you have to figure out what that system is. And if you don't ever try. Like if you're like, I don't know how to put an event on my phone, on my phone calendar because I'm not good with technology, that can prevent you from being able to put the things in place to be able to get it done, right? So yeah, 100%. Anything else you wanted to say about tech?
Yeah. So you funny, you showed your planner. I actually switched to a digital planner. It's called the Remarkable. And I just got a template that allows me to I can write on it. Like I use a digital pencil, sort of like an iPad Pro can do the same. If you like the pencil and paper feel and you want something that you can erase and keep, or you can save it. I use that now instead of, I used to have stacks of planners that I would go through. It's my mind manager. And so it's technology. It's a little pricey, but it really has changed the way I run my business because I always have every single piece of information I need for the week right there in that tablet.
I'm totally jealous of the Remarkable tablet. I've looked at it so many times, I can't even tell you. Maybe eventually I'll get one, but they are definitely really cool. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. Are you okay with that?
Oh yeah, let's go.
All right, so what is one piece of advice you would give to every e-commerce shop owner about getting back on track with their goals?
So I think there's a couple of things. Number one, you've got to make sure you know what your goals are, and two, to be committed to your goals. And then three, be prepared with your mindset when challenges arise, and they will, that you are ready to overcome them. So really, it is about clarity around what you're working on and why. Two, commit to it fully and they become non-negotiable commitments. And three, when challenges appear, learning to be mentally nimble to see challenges as opportunities and not as blocks and obstacles. So I always say, I tell my clients, they are there to grow you, not to slow you. So anytime you face an obstacle, and it can be in many ways, it could be a tech challenge. It could be things aren't working the way you thought, or maybe you're struggling with your profitability matrix. There's so many areas that can show up, but knowing that those are your growth opportunities, your personal growth opportunities, and they're there for you to grow into the next level entrepreneur you need to be in order to have the next level business.
I find this really hilarious. So I intentionally try and have one piece of advice, and I would say 97% of the time, whoever I have come on, they try to have one, but it never is one. That's the same thing that always happens to me too. So our one piece of advice is to do three things, and those are
yes.
So you have to know what your goals are. You've got to make sure that you put a plan in action to accomplish those goals and make them immovable objects, basically. Yes. And then finally, be willing to bend.
Yes.
That's exactly. Pretty accurate. Okay. So Danielle, thank you so much for joining me on the Tech Challenge Makers Conquer E-commerce podcast. If our listeners want to know more, I know you have a gift to give them, but also how can they find you? Just tell us a little bit more about how they can connect with you.
Yes, absolutely. So I help entrepreneurs who struggle with accountability and achieving their goals. So for those who are interested, if you need the structure and the focus to put a time on your calendar to work on the parts of your business that seem to always get pushed to the wayside, I offer free co-working sessions online. So what these are 2-hour blocks every week that you can stick on your calendar and fully commit to, right? We talked about the commitment part. It's important. It's non-negotiable if it works in your schedule, and you can show up and you have 2 hours of dedicated time where we set intentions and we follow up, and you just focus. You should turn off your phone, notifications go off, and you focus 100% on those tasks that really need to get done for you to grow and scale your business. So I offer that, and that is available at focusedcoworking.com. You can sign up every week. We run the sessions.
And the link will also be in the show notes for this episode. And I also want to interject, I know you have more to say, but I actually have attended these with Danielle in the past. And I can say that they are amazing for trying to make yourself get stuff done. I'm a very type A, very much the person who gets the things done, right? Everybody always comments, Elise, how do you get so much done? But even I found this to be incredibly helpful to make me focus in on, I had to tell Danielle what I was going to do for those 2 hours. And it just something about having to tell someone else I'm doing this thing makes you focus so much more to get it done. So Danielle, go ahead and tell us the rest of your things.
Yeah. So you're right. That is actually a psychological trick that we use where when you verbally set an intention to someone else, your brain gets on board with it. It's completely part of our subconscious mind. But also for those who maybe they can find the time, but they're struggling to know what to work on, right? Entrepreneurship is inherently chaotic. There is always a longer to-do list than there are hours in the day, and I don't support the hustle mentality anyway. If you're struggling to know what is the most critical, important thing that your business needs right now, I will give you a hint. It's probably not the thing you spend most of your time on, because a lot of us focus our time on the things we like or are good at and not on the things that are hard and challenging. So I run CEO workshops. It's called the 4-hour CEO workshops, where for 4 hours, you learn to have a strategic viewpoint of your entire business. We go over the 8 business areas and you find out where your weaknesses are and where your strengths are. And once you know the weaknesses, the great part is you can make the choice. Am I going to do that? Am I going to delete that? Or am I going to delegate that? Because a lot of us, especially e-commerce types, we tend to be do-it-yourselfers, right? We are kind of handsy and critical thinkers and creative, and we don't always easily want to acknowledge that maybe some parts of our business are better left to an expert who that is their natural zone of genius. So this will help identify that so you can make intelligent decisions that are strategic and help your business grow.
And I also had the experience of attending this workshop, sort of. And I can tell you that there were several things that Danielle had you work through that I found incredibly helpful for my own business and sort of helped me understand myself better so that I could do a better job of managing what I needed to manage to make things go. So I highly recommend this as well. And that is 4hourceo.com. And then I know you've got one more thing to talk about.
Yeah. So this is more for the higher level, more advanced entrepreneurs. So if you are committed to your calendar and you know what to work on, but you still find yourself not doing it and you're feeling very frustrated, like, why am I not doing the things that I know I need to do? Why am I avoiding it? That is where my one-to-one coaching package comes in. There's often some sort of emotional block that you're not aware of. 100% out of 100 of my clients, we're surprised at what was keeping them from taking action. It can be anything. I never know what that is until I'm in with the client. We have a breakthrough session, but that can be scheduled. We can get on a discovery call and talk about why you're not doing the things you want to do. And that is just on my website at DanielleNapoleoCox.com.
And I know, so I don't have as much experience with that, but I will tell you, those of you who know me and have worked with me in the past, I have a tendency to be very direct and to the point. Like, I forget to say good morning. And so the sort of behind the scenes reasons for things is less my forte. I'm definitely more like, here's the nuts and bolts. Let's figure out what the tech problem is. That's my personality. So Danielle is much better able to help you with those kinds of things, with really discovering what the block is, what the reason is, what the mindset is, why you're struggling. And so I would highly recommend that if you're finding that that's a problem that you're having, which I know some of you are because I've worked with you. And then Danielle, as far as social media, I think Instagram is the best place to find you. Is that correct?
Yeah, I hang out on Instagram and it's Danielle Napoleon Cox. Just Danielle_Napoleon_Cox. I'm not my weakness area is social media marketing. So it's not super active, but I actually, in my own 8 areas, I have acknowledged that marketing is not my strength. And I've hired someone to help me with that, who is naturally good at that. So that should be picking up very soon.
Okay, awesome. So Danielle, again, thank you so much for joining us on the Tech Challenge Makers Conquer E-commerce podcast. If you need help with these mindset areas that maybe are not my forte, Danielle is excellent. We've known each other for a long time, and I can guarantee you she is going to be able to help you if you reach out to her. So connect with Danielle, and I will see you guys next week for the next episode. If you like what we're doing here at Tech Challenge Makers Conquer E-commerce, and it's helping you gain clarity and direction in your business, you should check out Elise's e-commerce elevator. In this 6-month group coaching program, I'll guide you through the ins and outs of building a business for purchase conversion. You'll also get to join up with a small group of other e-commerce shop owners who are focused on building exponential growth and reaching the right audience. Head over to myscheduledbiz.com/elevator and join us. We welcome a limited number of new members every 6 months, and by signing up today, you'll reserve your spot. Thanks for listening. See you next week right here on Tech Challenge Makers Conquer E-commerce.